name is Recon Vortex, and welcome back to building Eternia with Recon Vortex. And today, instead of building, I'm going to show you what my mates built. Alright, moving on. For first ever build, this is a guy named Ro for this, for this description. And the thing about Ro I always joked about is how he was a very, very short person. And, well, his build sort of resembled that. He wasn't the best builder. Honestly, I think the worst builder out of all the people you're going to see today. But he did build this, which honestly, despite it being simple, it's a pretty nostalgic piece of build, work in this area, as it was the first ever build in this area. So overall, how I would rate it, I would say around about. It's not the best, but due to nostalgia, I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. Up is going to be a guy named Fan. The thing about Fan was he always wanted to tell a story with his build. I'm going to show you why there's a hole here in a minute. So this is a abandoned house where there's a bunch of secrets. I don't have night vision on, so I'm just going to break through here. I'm going to replace that, don't worry. Yeah, a bunch of secret areas. Terrible to show. Hold on. Hold, please. Yeah, a bunch of secret, going through here, up the ladder, into this beautiful attic area where, well, I guess, believe it or not, he might have been a Five Nights at Freddy's fan. Anyway, moving on to where the story actually was. So, for all what I got out of this story was some guy was chained up here and decided to jump out this window and, well, had a very large thud. Overall, is it very simplistic due to interiors being quite lackluster in both the areas, see like right here and upstairs? Yes, but is it a good story-wise thing? Honestly, it did let me think about it a lot when he was first building this. So overall, I would give it a higher one than Rose, out of like 7 out of 10. Where's the record button? Alright, and now we are on to the third person, who I'm going to call Volkswagen. He decided to make an abandoned hotel cabin lodge type thing, where mysteriously the entire roof of it came off. The reason why I'm explaining the main story of it is because he only played once on this server. I know him very well from secondary school, but he only played once on this server because he didn't really like Minecraft. And so, you're probably wondering, why does he not like Minecraft? This is probably one of the good builds, I would say, out of a bunch I'm going to show you. Well, the thing was, he didn't build any of this. This was all built by me. And the only thing he built was this 2 tough blocks and those 4 blocks right there. He built the outline, where I built the rest of this based off his description. But overall, good build, and I'm not allowed to rank it because I will rank it at 10 because I'm egotistical. Anyway, moving on to the fourth person. I'm going to name this guy the Tory, mainly because he was very wealthy. And he decided to build a modern-esque mansion where, once again, I had to build most of it because he doesn't like playing Minecraft. He doesn't like playing video games at all. He's a very outgoing person. But overall, it was a pretty good design. But I have to dock points because obviously it's empty. And for what he put into the build, he also only built the outline of it, so also a dock on those points as well. So overall, I would give this base around about, let's say, a 4 for effort, because he did more effort than Volkswagen, and he also did one thing which I really liked, was building a progress map of when he was on the server, and this is very out of date due to there's no terraining up there, and I think some of the maps got updated on accident. But anyway, that has been the Tories base. Moving on to the the fifth build. This was from someone named Whisper, and their build is hands down the best build in the friend area. There's a few discrepancies I had with it, with the very confusing ladder using a wonderful trapdoor method, where honestly, I kid you not, I tried to do it before when they were building it. It took me so long to do, like uncomfortably long, and also they built this wonderful tree here. Is it their best tree? No, because they built a cherry blossom tree afterwards, and it was the best tree I think I've ever seen and ever could even do. But honestly, out of everyone's builds, this by far deserves the like 10 spot or the 9.5 spot due to how detailed, how much effort was put into this build compared to all the others. So yeah, and also, you're probably wondering, what's this little house down here? Well, it's a map room they did, which I decided to make the house of, where they showed their perspective of it, where there's only two trees, and they also did the entire farm area up here. So yeah, overall, here is the fifth build. Here's the next build. This is the penultimate build, where this was made by Little Macaz himself. Where honestly, I don't know what he was on when he made this build. It's very confusing, very random, and I very much put him on the spot. That said, "Oi, make a build," and then he just decided, "Copper golems everywhere," because why not? And then we're moving up here. It's his very open bathroom, and honestly, out of all the builds, it's not the best, but somewhat on a similar level to how I voted Rose build. So I'm gonna say around about 6.5. Alright, for the final one of my mate's build, this is a guy named Harold. It's not his real name, so I'm just gonna use it. And he decided to make a very, very simple area because, once again, he's not really a Minecraft builder and he's not really a Minecraft player. He's more lively, more cut grass kind of person. But overall, I must say it is not the best base. It is, I think it's the worst by far. So that's why I'm gonna give it a 3.5, just behind the Tories base, due to it being very quickly made. He made it in like 10 minutes, and it just doesn't really look good. Anyway, that has been the tour of all my friends' bases in Eternia, and the next video is going to be actual progress on the server, I promise. Anyway, thank you for watching.